Hey everybody, welcome back to a exciting episode of Citizen Frame. Today, we're talking Evil Dead Burn, the most anticipated next film of the Evil Dead franchise.
Since Evil Dead Rise.
Wow, since Evil Dead Rise, I'm taking my time saying my words today.
Right. Why is that?
I don't know.
You're like a classic actor, you know, a stage actor, you know, chewing the scenery, taking
So
your
that's
time
right.
over the words.
Thespian. I'm a thespian.
Sort of. So Laurence Olivier, words.
Spotify pulled one of our episodes.
Yeah, you were saying? What did we do wrong?
Fuckers.
I mean, it's probably, there could be a big list here.
Yeah. No, because I think we just need to get a theme song from now on. Because how it works is we're allowed to sample some sound bites, which you get in the beginning of our podcast, and we take a little bit of the score that was written for the film, and you pepper it in. It's only a few moments, as you hear in the beginning and maybe at the end of the podcast. I'm doing it for years. What? Well, I'm allowed to, and they don't get back to me, and they keep it. Fine. Well, Obsession, turns out the music that we used was maybe in the film, but it was written for other stuff in the past, so it wasn't made for the film. So that's kind of like using an Aerosmith song for Armageddon. I can't use the Aerosmith song because it was written by, it's a long story. Long story short, I got to pull the Obsession, remove the opening sequence, and then I can put it back on. We apologize. But you know what? We're like so huge right now that would have been a sweet plug of Into the Darkness because we used it. And now you're going to lose listeners because, you know, nobody's going to hear it because they're not listening.
Yeah, because no one's going. Yeah, because no one's going to watch the film now. In fact, there's probably more people have listened to our podcast than the film, even though it is a massive hit.
Yeah, haha. So that's all you get to make is $400 million on your $750,000 budget.
Yeah, you could have got an extra 1p royalty from us. But anyway,
yeah, joke's on you.
It's a pity we couldn't get one pulled for something cool, you know, like in a sort of ban this filth, sort of video nasty sort of way.
Yeah, I was hoping like we're gonna pull episode. I gotta get back to him. Yes. What is it? What do we do? What do we do? You're using the score of them. God, boring.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Like this. Okay, Evil Dead Burn. Okay, there's no sound bites for this, so I can't. I won't. So this would just be us jumping into it. There's no sound bites available for Evil Dead Burn. That's why it's tougher to do new releases. So I think at some point what we're gonna do was we're gonna get rid of our intros. I mean our sound bites and music scores. Oh, perfect. I have an idea. Okay. I think what we need to do is
sing it ourselves.
Anyone out there who wants to, oh God, fuck that. We need like a little jingle. A jingle. That's what we need. A jingle.
Yeah.
And then it just, you know, like a 30-second jingle with maybe a soundbite from me. We don't want you in there because we want people to listen. But yeah, we'll think of something. This has gone on way too long. In other words, Spotify pulled us. Way to go, Spotify.
Censors.
Jerk.
Yeah.
Back to Evil Dead Burn. Evil Dead Burn. Is it Burns?
No, it's just Burn, singular.
Okay. Just like Evil Dead Rise.
Yes, I remember in the Evil Dead Rise podcast, or in one of our podcasts anyway, you called it Evil Dead Rises, and I corrected you. You like threw a wobbler.
It's a better title. It's a better title.
Okay, right. Well, I'll let Sam Raimi know.
In fact, the director called me. In fact, Lee Cronin called me after. He goes, Kieran, I wish I did Evil Dead Rises. That's a lot classier. He goes, thanks, Citizen Frame.
For keeping me right.
So, all right. Sorry about that long rant.
You know what? Right. The Evil Dead damn fans will have tuned out by now.
I've tuned out.
Did you even tune in?
Okay. No.
Go ahead.
All right, Evil Dead Burn. Here we go. Evil Dead Burn. All right, so Evil Dead Burn is getting mixed reviews. Getting good reviews. In all fairness, like 6.9 on IMDb, which is fair. It's doing well, you know, critics-wise. However, sadly, it tanked in the box office and bombed badly, actually, compared to what they thought it would do. I don't see why it did that. But when I go see a film, I like to view it twice, and I like to think about it because, you know, the hype always hurts films because you gotta, the hype. This is the most graphic film of all time. I was getting these reviews. Oh my God, I wet my pants. It was so
Yeah.
violent. All these reviews we're getting. And I'll tell you right now, guys, if you haven't seen it, well, first of all, we're spoiler filled here. So fuck off if you haven't seen it yet. But
That's a really nice way to talk to
I will,
your listeners. Lovely.
I don't care anymore. Don't care. So here's the situation. It's not. It's gore. There's a difference, guys. And it's still fun and still I quite frankly, I still think Evil Dead from 2012 was more brutal than this. So I don't get what people are saying here. That's not to deflect from the film, but it's not as graphic as everyone says it is. Again, using the word graphic's tough because again, it's cartoon gore. It's over the top fun. You're laughing with it, and at the same time going ew, So I can't really. I don't see this as graphic violence.
Oh,
You know what I mean? It's Evil Dead. It's not really about the graphic violence. So let's get that out of the way now.
no, for me, yes, it is gory, but it's an Evil Dead film. Of course, it's going to be gory. It's not offensive, but the issue I have overall, which I'll go into, is that the gore and the violence and the carnage isn't as playful or as humorous as Evil Dead films generally are, and the tone is generally a bit too grim, as well as the general look of it, this sort of washed out look and stuff. And for me, it's actually the weakest of the franchise, which I'm a big fan of.
Okay.
But go ahead. I will
okay.
explain with the podcast.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get that out of the way with the gore. This is directed by Sebastian Benisek. He did a film you guys should check it out. It's quite good called Infested. Pretty fun film. I can see why he got this role. It's got a similar look and vibe as the original Evil Dead, filmed on a smaller budget. It's actually pretty good. It's the reason why he got this film. It's decent enough. So go check it out. We're going to jump into this right now and see what works and what doesn't with Evil Dead Burn. Okay. I'm going to butcher these names, but I don't care. We got our main lead, Sohelia Yakub. She plays Alice. We got Hunter Dewin as the doofus, Joseph. We've got Lucianne Buchanan as Tia.
Yeah, I think.
Can we just call her Jill? Fucking hell. Tandy Wright as Susan. We got Errol Shand, the scene stealer. He plays the father, Edgar Price. And we get George Puller, who plays the very abusive dead husband, William. And we got Maud Davey is playing Polly. And any kind of film with demon possession films, and he plays the scene stealer grandmother. So there you go. There we go. And we got a little cameo by Alicia Sutherland, who played Ellie in Evil Dead Rise.
Yes, right at the very end, the post credits. Yeah.
The opening sequence, we're still back with the lake. This lake now we can say is the cause of the last two films' issues. You got this demon in the lake, and now this demon in this lake is Jessica. The demon's name's Jessica, and she attacks. We get two fishermen.
Yes.
Pretty good deaths. You use fishing hooks to rip somebody's eyes out and lips and stuff. It's pretty gruesome. I could watch my gore, but that just cringeworthy, seeing fish hooks ripping your face apart and being dragged into the lake.
I think
quite disturbing little sequence.
Yeah. I think that the opening is probably the strongest part of the film, and it also sets it up as a direct sequel to Evil Dead Rise. And, the stuff with Jessica, then whenever she goes out into walks onto the road and she gets knocked down, the stuff with her decapitated head and stuff, and, she's reciting the Kanda, Mostrato. It's very effective.
Yeah, it's not a bad opening scene. His buddy gets boiled alive in the lake,
right.
Which, that would suck.
That would be really a bit of a bummer, yeah.
Yeah, it's played dead straight. But to be fair, so was the opening of Evil Dead Rise.
I would disagree with that. Evil Dead Rise is a bit more playful in that it's a callback to the original, where Ice's sister is predicting the cards The girl here is predicting, the book. She's reading out the passages of the book that she can't see. So I would say Rise is a lot more playful, although it's quite gruesome as well.
I don't think you heard what I said.
What did you say?
Okay, let me reiterate what I said for the people who listen to me on this podcast. What I said was the opening scene of this film. I'm talking slow for Trevor. And the opening scene of Evil Dead Rise play it pretty dead straight.
And I said I disagree.
Where the rest, what?
Yeah, I know you said that. Yeah, I heard you say it.
Okay.
And I said that Evil Dead Rise is a bit more playful and doesn't really play it dead straight, in my opinion.
No, it's pretty dark. It's pretty
dark,
grim.
but it's more playful, and certainly more playful than what we'll get here.
No, I still think. Whatever. You've upset me now.
Not hard to do.
I wish Jessica was here. Kick your ass.
Jessica's pretty hot. So yeah, I wish she was here.
Well, she's not bad for it. She's not bad for a Deadite.
Oh yeah, well, some of those Deadites are pretty sexy. I mean, look at Henrietta in Evil Dead 2. Top babe.
Jesus. Yeah, nice makeup. But yeah, so you get these two pretty much body count, and then she leaves the lake, and she's going to go get her next victim, which we'll find out will be William.
But it's actually,
and that's pretty.
Go ahead.
And that's kind of like your opening scene here. Two casualties. Same thing you got in Evil Dead Rise. The lake is causing all the chaos. Same thing as Evil Dead Rise. Jessica this time comes out of the lake to cause the chaos. For some reason, she wants William. We don't know why, but we'll figure it out soon down the road.
Yeah,
here.
I do know why.
And this is your opening. We're just talking about the opening sequence here. Mm-hmm. So the opening sequence, that's our opening sequence until we meet the core audience here, the core team. So that's the opening sequence of Evil Dead Burn.
Okay. I would say as well that before that, we do get a clip of the brother listening to the recordings of his grandfather, about the demon resurrection and all this here. So it's sort of heavily suggested that him playing those recordings has awakened Jessica from her underwater slumber.
Okay. Yeah, because dipshit Joseph, the coward of the group, he's doing some research from his grandfather, and all those narrations you heard in the other movies, these recordings, and the person who's responsible for writing these diaries of the Necronomicon, whatever the history of it, is their grandfather.
Yes.
And he's doing a research study on the grandfather and his research. And he comes across this book and he reads a little bit from it. So this does explain why Jessica is awakened, revived from the lake, takes out the two fuckers in the lake, and then she's off to go after these people because they're the ones who technically called.
Also,
so there you
Joseph's grandfather, it appears, is connected. Well, he was in a cult of these like wise men cult who were researching the Necronomicon, which in itself is a reference to Army of Darkness, but also it sort of suggested that he is a colleague of Professor Noby from the original two films. The voice in the recordings there.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like him.
Yeah, it's not a him, but it's like a colleague of him. Yeah.
Yeah. Once we cut away from the first attack, we get to meet our core group. Now, the film goes, I think the reason people think, and I can understand the perception, they think this film is not as playful. I think it is, but I can understand why true Evil Dead fans don't see it as playful. They see it more dark in tone.
Yeah.
And this is why, but I kind of applaud this direction. So what the director was doing, our core team, Alice, Joseph, Thea, Susan, these, and William, we're introduced to William, but he gets killed here in a second.
Yes.
These are our core, all right? And William owns a dance club. He's married to Alice. You kind of realize they don't get along. They're bitching and moaning at each other. We find out that William's an abusive prick, so he deserves everything he gets. And then Joseph and Tia. Joseph is the brother of William, the one who was about to die. And here's the problem, and I can understand. The film goes in a dark direction with the cast, or with the characters, that is. This is about an abusive brother who dies, and it's during his funeral and his wake and this little weekend retreat with the family, and this is where the chaos happens. The problem is what people are seeing is it's right there. It's a dark setup already. You have very drab characters, and you're introduced to them, and quite frankly, I would even admit they're not
None of
likable,
them are.
and that's a problem. The granny's likable just because she's the granny. She's going to be the comic relief. That's cliche. We talked about that with Lee Cronin's The Mummy.
Yeah.
But I think that's the problem. And so whoever gets it here, you could give one rat's ass.
The thing is,
you just don't care. But with the Evil Dead Rise, within 20 minutes, you knew about everyone in the apartment complex. You knew that the names are going to escape me, but you have a couple
yeah,
you have a couple children there, right there.
yeah,
You're concerned because there's kids involved. They lost a father. You've got the sister is pregnant. She doesn't know what to do. So you have all these little family dynamic that we all can relate to.
about.
The problem you have with these characters, they're fucking assholes. And even by the time you get the hero, Alice, I don't see her as a hero. I just see her as get rid of her, because that is the problem. It's the way these characters are written. Nothing against the actors. The actors are very good in this film. But I think that's why people think it's a lot darker take.
Yeah.
Because of what we're given here.
The characters are all very unlikable, I would say, especially the father character. And with previous installments of the Evil Dead franchise, they have very over-the-top, colourful, jump off the screen, likable, really memorable characters. Obviously, you have Ice, in the original films, Mia, played by Jane Levy in the 2013 remake. Then we had Ellie in the last one, Evil Dead Rise. Here they are just really grim, depressing characters, including Alice, I have to say, who in no way leaps off the screen. She's just quite, aside from all of the stuff that's going on around her, she's quite a blandly written, and I have to say, performed character.
I disagree with that. I think I think they're all wonderfully performed. And I understand why she's like that, because in the film we even see the burn scars she has from when William threw hot water at her, and she's with the family where she doesn't, she's not well liked. Their son died, the night she was with them, and she's got allegations of abuse against him. So she's put in this situation. I don't think she's bland at all. I think the problem is that all these actors aren't bland. Their characters aren't even bland. It's just unlikable because they're in an unlikable circumstances. Where Evil Dead, the 2012 one, had a very dark story. Bunch of friends get together with the brother, and they have the sister who they're going to try to do an intervention with, who's going through all this rehab. She had to deal with her dead, who's passed away of cancer. She starts taking the needle injections. She's going through all these drug abuse. They're trying to intervene with her. But what worked with the Evil Dead Burn was that is a dark story, but they're likable. They're all trying to help her. You got the guy who actually reads from the Necronomicon, and he's the one who gets all the needles in the face, and you start laughing with it because he's like, oh, poor guy, but he kind of caused this. In this one, it's the dipshit, what's his name, Joseph. He's the one who started all this, and he is just an unlikable coward from the get-go. And so that's the problem. I don't think they're bland. I just think they're ugly.
They are to me.
And I think that's why.
And if you're going to have a serious storyline, which is fair enough, like we said, it was done with the 2013 remake. That's fair enough. But here, it just feels as if it's been sort of added on. It doesn't really explore things like domestic abuse fully. Yes, it does its service to it, and the mother knew about it and was covering up and all this sort of thing. But it just feels like sort of shoved in, Whereas, and I feel that's obviously to do with the writing, but also the performances as well. The writing, the characters are all deeply were unlikable to me, especially the father and the mother, actually. And we don't really see too much of the abusive husband because he basically gets bumped off at the end until he comes back, obviously, later on. Sorry, he gets bumped off at the start until comes back later on. But there is not one character I could empathize or relate to here. I just found them all pretty. I mean, the granny obviously gets a by ball, but that's it.
Again, I won't repeat what I said. They're not bland. They're just kind of ugly characters. Well, the problem I have is Alice is your lead, and like, Alice does eventually warm up to you, but the problem is in the beginning when you're introduced to Alice and William, they're bickering at each other. She's drinking too much. You don't really know that he's an abusive prick yet. You kind of see him as just
Sort of
being
suggested.
overprotective. It might be hinted at, but we don't know that yet. So our first initial introduction to these two is cold, and I don't like one of them. Once you do that, you kind of take me out. And so Alice's journey, who is going to be the main character, is you're like, okay, you needed a Jamie Lee here, guys. you, you needed the final girl,
But Jane
and the
Levy.
final girl you need the final girl, and if you have her as the final girl, she has to be likable, and she just doesn't come off like that. It's not the actress's fault, like I said. It's just the way the characters are written.
Yeah.
All right. So once William's knocked off, he's killed off by our girl,
Jessica.
Lake Lady.
Yep.
Lake Lady, we'll call her. And they all go, I don't get this. So I must have missed it. You must have missed the line. They're going to his funeral and he's going to be cremated.
Yeah.
But it's only them, the six, or whatever they are, going to this. Nobody else is at the funeral? Was it a private ceremony then?
Well, I think maybe for the sake of the plot, but maybe William was such a complete dick. He had no friends. And this family is so unlikable that nobody were friends to them either. So, yeah, at this funeral, it is basically just a family. But yes, I think it's a private family service, that sort of thing. But yes, but there's workmen doing like construction outside this crematorium during his funeral. But yes, it's basically only the family there.
And it's a good scene where the funeral director's like, sorry about all the construction, but as I'm talking, they said the construction machines will stop. But they keep going. And she's trying to give this beautiful speech about William.
There's drilling
and all the construction
hammering.
sounds going on. It's pretty funny. And that's kind of that's what people want. They want kind of that. You lose that once we get to the house. But it was quite a funny scene. But yeah, there's nothing to grasp here. They're just unlikable people.
I
And
would say as well that the actual way the color palette used throughout the film is way too grim, and just it's like dirty dishwater. It's just washed out, and it just depresses you um, aesthetically watching it, and it's just it just did not work for me. The general aesthetic.
See, uh, I'm completely against that. I loved it. I think it was wonderful. Matter of fact, I turned you in the film. I said, this guy's got balls, because 90% of the film is shot during the day.
Also, I would say,
And
in defense of him, he knows how to point a camera and do these crazy camera angles in the manner of Raimi, but making them his own once we get to the house. So there's obviously talent here.
it's to shoot all the actions during the day and to be able to get away with that and still pepper in and still bring people in to the environment without taking them out. Great thing about shooting during the day, you got to maintain, obviously, an atmosphere to it, and he does that well. He's very good at when you go to this old abandoned house that the family used to own, is by the time the movie's done, you could rebuild this house because you know every ins and outs of it. And to do it all during the day, most of the Evil Deads are all during that night. It's quite clever. And the only problem you have when you're doing horror during the day, you got to give us jump scares. And if you can do it during the day, you pulled it off.
Scream 5 did it.
Scream 5 did it, perfect example. But this doesn't really have any scares.
No, it's just carnage.
I'm going to say that. There's not really, it's just carnage. So you really would have hit a home run if the day shots You gave us some really creeped out, scary moments, but you don't. You just get this batshit crazy
The
free
only
for all of
the only
carnage.
potentially sort of creepy moment, and I don't think it was really pulled off, is whenever the old woman, the granny, is possessed and she has a sheet over her head, like a classic sort of ghost with a sheet over its head. But it just so much of this just isn't pulled off. I get the intention and all the rest, but it's just, and while I certainly believe that the director has talent in terms of directing scenes and doing all the craziness and stuff, it's just while there are comedic scenes, it's just not enough for an Evil Dead film with so much of it. It works
I
it
think he
works
was.
very well as, say for argument's sake, it was a standalone ballsy gory horror. It would work very well, but for Evil Dead, there is a certain knack, and it doesn't just quite pull it off for me.
Yeah, I think what he's trying is making his own, and
So
I
what's
applaud that. We talked about this with Scream 7, and we talked about this with Exorcist Believer.
yes,
Now, there Scream 7, I'm more of a purist than I am the other ones I just mentioned, but Scream 7 still gets a pass. It's wonderfully directed, wonderfully shot, good gore, but it's not really a Scream film. But it's still a good film. Fuck, go see it. I gave The Exorcist Believer a pass. They didn't fucking promote it as an Exorcist movie and promote the hell out of it using Exorcist characters from the original. It probably even done better. But since they got cocky and they used the Exorcist name, I can understand purists wanting an Exorcist film.
me.
I could take that away and I saw a very solid Exorcist film, very dark and disturbing, not a Hollywood ending. I really enjoyed it. I'm giving that a pass, but I can understand the purists. This is the way I'm taking this movie. Evil Dead Burn. I'm going to tell you right now, I watched it. I'm not a purist with Evil Dead, and so I'm going with it. And I'll tell you what now, the gore is nonstop. And once the shit hits the fan, it doesn't stop. There was moments where I couldn't stop laughing. I couldn't take a breath because nothing would stop the chaos that happens. And it's so fucking fun and beautifully shot. Despite its Evil Dead flaws, this movie deserves a. I can see why people are going, if this is a good sucking fucking movie.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
purists are just being,
I'm an Evil Dead
well,
purist, and I am
purists.
an Exorcist purist as well, actually. And yes, you know, i- this Evil Dead Burn is a very solid horror film, gore fest, all the rest. But it falls down as an Evil Dead film and is the weakest of them all. There's still some good stuff here, I would say, but as an Evil Dead purist, there is a lot of stuff that I didn't like about it, to be honest.
A lot of a lot of stuff that keeps in tradition of the Evil Dead. They plant the seeds and they're blatant. It's not like they're so they do it really well in Evil Dead Rise, where everything that's going to come back in every weapon that's going to come back, whether it's a fucking toothbrush or whatnot, is they're letting you know this is coming back.
Yes.
There's the corkscrew, there's the fire poker, the dishwasher being left open with all the
Yeah.
knives sticking up in this little tray. These are deliberate winks to the audience that these are coming back into play. And what I like about that, I was grinning like, oh, I can't wait because what's going to happen when this comes into play. And it's such a wonderful way knowing, planting the seed of what's coming and who is going to get their comeuppance by utilizing
Can
those
I just
certain
pick up on that, actually?
household items.
And I agree with you. But here is another problem, nothing to do with the actual film in and of itself. They gave way too much away in the trailers for this and the clips they released. In fact, so much so that I had to stop watching them. They basically see all the cool stuff, like the stuff with the dishwasher and stuff, and the stuff where Tia gets her fingers cut off in the car door and stuff, and the car seat through the head, all given away in the trailers. So that affected me as well because I wasn't then shocked and surprised because I'd already seen it in the trailers. That's not the fault of the filmmaker or the film in and of itself. That's the fault of the production company putting out a trailer that gives way too much away. Sorry, trailers plural.
You like knowing the ending. You actually read spoilers before going to a film.
It depends on the film. With an Evil Dead, I
No,
generally
no, you
wouldn't.
always do. You always do.
Generally, I would and I would watch trailers, but
Uh,
I must admit, with the pretty cool stuff here, it did piss me off that I'd already seen them in the trailers.
the best shot in the film, hands down, and so beautifully shot, especially when you're in such a limited space, is the car sequence and the fight against Edgar and Tia and the son Joseph. It's I won't do it justice by explaining it, but it's so well done. And this is the one moment where, because what I do like about it, you kind of think Tia is going to be the hero here. You think Tia is going to be the one to kind of solve it because she's the peacemaker. If there's anyone during this time before the chaos kicks in that's going to have some kind of resolve to help this family deal with the tragedy of their death of their son, it's Tia. But she gets taken out hard and brutally. And she comes back and she ends up being the scene stealer as a deadite. But this whole attack sequence is wonderful. And it's so brutal. And you feel like you're in the seat with them as they're fighting. And this is a scene where we find out Joseph's a coward because he leaves Tia.
Yeah.
Yes, he runs away. He escapes from the sunroof and leaves her to die. And she sees this before she's impaled by the car seat. And it's just brutal.
I think there's another scene later on that I think is actually really well directed. And again, the one I'm about to say, and also this one in the car, were both given away in the trailers. But there's one, it's just brilliantly directed, like a one shot whenever Alice is being chased basically around the house by the likes of the possessed mother, but also the possessed fathers are, and they're also attacking Joseph and stuff, and it's just brilliantly sort of point of view type, shot following her around as she's trying to escape. So again, like I say, this director is obviously a talented guy, but maybe not quite the knack for an Evil Dead film. But yeah,
Susan,
the
mother somewhat turns, but doesn't, and that's why I got a little confused in who turns and who doesn't, because there's a fun scene, and I think it's an homage to Salem's Lot when Edgar wants to get into the house.
Yes.
All he has to do is break the window, but he kind of scrapes it like the boy in Salem's Lot.
Let me in,
Just
Mark.
let me in, and it was quite fun. And she opens the window because she's lost her son, and now her family's pretty much being torn to shreds by God knows what.
Yes.
So she opens the window and he looks at her and his face is all blown off from blowing his home face off like 3 times.
Yeah.
Very great. Fucking amazing effects. The makeup effects, that is the real actor and that was makeup effects. And the use of practical, his head being half blown off is the effects here are
but whenever he actually
until the ending.
Yeah,
but anyways.
But I mean, I would say, no, I have to jump in there. I would say that whenever he is doing the actual face blowing off, there is a little help from CGI. And
there's no CGI in that scene.
When he shoots himself in the face, there has to be.
Oh, you mean when he? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yes.
So when the actor puts a shotgun in his mouth and blows his head off, you're saying they need a little CGI to show some of it. Well, of course they fucking do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you're saying it was all practical.
You're calling that out.
No.
Are you fucking
There is a little
me?
help from CGI there.
Of course there is. Then there should be. It's when CGI should be used.
If it was a method,
in small doses.
If it was a method
and you're going to fucking call that out.
If it was a method actor like Daniel Day-Lewis, he would have done it for real.
I call bullshit on that comment. Bullshit, guys. It's a great scene. Check it out.
But there is help from CGI. Of course there is.
Of course there is.
You said it was all
you're going to call that out? How fucking petty. That's fucking petty.
But no, it's because you said
that is
earlier
bullshit.
That it was all practical. Yes, the makeup effect.
No, I said most of it was practical in that scene. In that scene, yes, it was. I didn't talk about him blowing his head off.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to point that out.
It's bullshit. I call bullshit on that. That's pathetic. That is pathetic. You're going to call that film. That's an incredible shot when it doesn't matter. You're going to call. You're pretty much pissing on the scene. That's so wonderfully done. No, they use CGI in that, so it's shit.
I didn't say it was shit. I did not once say it was shit.
Yeah, you came off like you did.
No.
Bullshit.
No, I did not once say it was shit.
I'm not going to disrespect the visual effects in this film at all. Well until the ending.
Yeah, exactly, until the ending. Yeah, but
bullshit. Anyways, so he gets in and he starts tonguing her and they're kissing and it's again, this to me is the Evil Dead charm and I don't know why people are missing it. And he's like, fucking French kissing and it is hard. And it's like, and his face is half hanging off his jaw. You can see his mouth, his jaw. It's almost like, what's his name from American Werewolf in London? Who keeps coming back, Rodder and Rodder. Jack, and it's so fun and playful. And then, but she turns because the juices and shit, right?
Yes.
But
The same with the
I
granny.
like
Granny,
that,
the juices turn the granny as well.
but that's where I get a little confused.
There
Do
are
you
changes
have
to
to
the
be
lore here.
literally? Do you have to be like bitten completely? I don't think you do in order to turn completely because
I,
Susan and the granny they're kind of in and out.
I know that there is playing around with the lore here, where things like saliva, whenever they're tonguing, the husband and wife, or even whenever Tia, the possessed Tia, puts the granny's false teeth in her mouth and then puts them back in the granny's mouth.
Oh, that seems
That
awesome.
possesses the granny. But also, I would say that bodily dismemberment no longer seems to kill the deadites, which now they have to be put on fire. Whereas right throughout the series, it was always bodily dismemberment. That in fact, it's plainly
No,
stated in the Professor
yeah, but
Novi tapes.
no, because Tia's killed by dismemberment.
Some people are, but some people aren't.
Tia is killed by
Yeah, yes,
dismemberment.
that's what I'm saying. Some
You've got Joseph.
it works with some, but not others.
No, they all get it.
No, no.
Joseph get.
Well, Ellie coming back for a start doesn't really make a lot of sense. Apart from, I know it's a cool scene actually, but with her ashes just coming back through her ashes, that doesn't make any sense at all. But also,
Who?
Ellie from Evil Dead Rise in the post credit
Oh,
scene,
oh yeah.
that doesn't make any
Well,
sense.
we're not there yet. You're jumping ahead,
Yeah,
but
but
no, they all get their comeuppance pretty good. That's all. I mean, no, they all get the other one who we'll get to in a second in the Williams scene,
yes.
but no, they all get their heads bashed in
Mm,
and crushed and
well,
so
I think
forth.
there's
But I
generally a bit
don't
of
know what
playing
you're talking
around.
about. The burning
Uh,
thing,
uh,
the
what,
the burning thing, I don't get.
yeah,
Which we'll get to. Actually, let's jump into it now. Anyways, because we're just rambling and so Alice has got to find this dagger, right?
Kandarian dagger.
And the whatever dagger, and she finds it, and she's stabbing. Is it
Yes,
Joseph
it's
that's
Joseph.
coming
Yeah,
after her?
yeah, yes, because Joseph is
And
possessed at this point as well.
yeah, so there's another thing that kills him. Nobody dies on fire.
Sorry, not
That's what I
sorry,
don't
sorry.
get.
I have to correct myself there. Sorry, I'm thinking of the William being on fire thing, but actually, no. It's saying instead of bodily dismemberment, it's they can only die by the Kandarian dagger. But yes, there's people.
No,
Well, William could
no, no,
only
no, no,
die
no,
by
no.
it.
They can all die. Tia dies with her head when she smashes her
That's what I
face in the
mean.
ground. Remember,
It
she
works for some people, but it doesn't for others. Where although that they're sort of dismembered as well, but with
they're not
Joseph,
killed. I mean, you're talking about
Joseph has to be
someone
killed
loses
with a
a
dagger.
hand. That's
You know.
but I don't understand. They're all killed practically. They're all killed with whether it's bashing their faces in, stabbed
Yes,
to
but
death
the
with the
script, though,
dagger,
yes, I know that. No,
or
no, I'm agreeing with you. But the script also, at some point, says words to the effect of that they can only be killed by the dagger. It's confusion, but basically, in the lore, they can be killed by two things: the dagger and bodily dismemberment. So, although it's playing with the lore, especially with the saliva stuff and all, which has never happened before, it's there is a bit of confusion generally about, well, what do you actually have to do here? Do we have to stab them with the dagger or not, or do we have to dismember them? But there is a bit of both going on.
no, I didn't really see that. Yeah, okay. I think the dagger can only be used to the no, the dagger can only be used to the main source of the evil, which in this case it's William. The dagger can still
It's used on
kill
Joseph as
a
well,
regular
though.
dude. Yeah, but she gets him in the heart with it and kills
Mhm.
him.
Yeah, I mean,
But no, I can kind of see maybe it's a little sloppy there. Maybe I don't know, but for the most part, they're all killed as if I'd kill somebody. They die the same
there is
way. You
dismemberment.
shot them 25 times in the face, they'll die. It's not. They're not. It's not just by fire. I don't know. I mean, they're. No, I think that's fair. I think the deaths are wonderful, and especially when she takes them all
Well,
out,
there is dismemberment,
guys.
to be
I
fair.
mean, but this the last 25 minutes of this film was just pure chaos, and I couldn't stop laughing. It's so much fun, and you just into it, and I loved every moment of it. Can't fault it. Again, I'm not a purite, so I don't give a fuck. I just enjoying it. Love the gore, the practical gore, and I like just all the placement settings for what the tools in place that are going to be coming back and used as a weapon. Just everything is very fun and so playful until now. Like I said, I'm not an Evil Dead purist, but the one thing I know the Evil Dead always does, unless needed to help the practical pop a little bit with a little CGI, is they don't use full on CGI graphics in their films. It's all pretty much practical with a little peppered in CGI if need be. Now, the ending, William comes back because Jessica killed William. Now William is back to pretty much wreak havoc on this on the final girl, which is, his wife, I guess you can say.
Yeah, it is.
And there's a beautiful shot, and it sucks. It's the way the movie should have ended. I remember turning to Trevor going, that is the best shot of the film. And it's where she comes out of the house. She's barely alive, and the house is on fire. And then I can't even explain it, but there's a camera shot that turns itself upside down. It's amazing. As she rolls over, the camera rolls over with her. Very James Wan kind of shot. Gorgeous. I turn to Trevor and go, that's the best shot of the film. And then it was like, uh-oh, please say it's over. Please say it's over. We see from the fire, William, CGI man, coming out. And I was like, no. Even
That's
I
fair.
know this isn't. Yeah, this is cheap.
And
It
anticlimactic.
looked like I can't remember the name, but I expect this from Stranger Things because Stranger Things is fun. It's Goonies-esque, but Stranger Things has a character like this that comes out at the end, and Veritek or whatever, I can't remember his name. But anyways, that's what this was. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, what is this now?
Yeah.
Wait, is this The Mummy in 2002? And I'll tell you that the CGI for this William guy, not very good.
No, takes you out of it.
It's kind of, and she's running away from him, and all of a sudden they're at a construction site, and
He's a shit villain anyway. Like big bad.
yeah, I was like, the granny was harder to kick her ass than it was. That was harder to kick her ass than it was this asshole.
Yeah.
And all he does is he gets stabbed, and
Twice.
that's
And
it.
she sort of like pokes his eyes out. She has like a vision of him back as normal William, and he like says, "I love you," and then
I hated that moment. I was like, oh
yeah,
my
it was like something from a
God.
daytime soap opera.
I felt I was watching Patrick Swayze in Ghost.
Yeah, yeah. And then she like says basically "fuck you." Although the very sort of final shot before the credits, where she's sitting in the ambulance and she gets a cigarette off the ambulance lady, there is
Yeah.
a suggestion there that she has become possessed. But at that point, I was like, so what? Yeah. I'm gonna have to be honest. I was disappointed here. It works as a horror film, and over the top haunted house type gore fest horror film, but it doesn't work for me as an Evil Dead film. And I am a purist. So sorry.
This movie is one of the best horror films to come this year, and there's been quite a few of them. This movie doesn't stop. It's nonstop fun. Great fucking gore.
There is some good stuff there.
Great effects. Great effects. Characters are nasty and cruel. And I'm thinking, you know what? Well, you might as well have it. They're all going to get it violently. But that does take away from the film, especially the lead, Alice. You're kind of not really rooting for her at this point because you already hate her from the beginning.
Yeah.
So that is a flaw. And then so technically you got the beginning when you meet these Muppets, you kind of don't like them, and then you've got the ending with William. So it's everything in the middle that works. But there's too much that works. It is batshit crazy. They have the balls to kill the dog right in front of you, and he stabs this poor dog religiously quite a few times before it dies. And that's ballsy. I do like that. So, it's got edge to it. It's got bite, pardon the pun. Like that scene in the fucking car is just awesome. If you just want to watch it just for the car scene, watch it. There's a nice little nod that Williams actually orchestrating this whole thing. They have, wedding videos playing in the background during all this chaos of William to kind of honor his memory. And there's a shot where there's a big fight going on in the living room, and the TV breaks and the VCR breaks, and there's a big grin. It
Like a
stops right
Joker.
in like a close up of William's face, and the screen's cracked, and it looks like the Joker, and he's grinning, kind of like he's laughing at everybody because he's actually the ringleader of all this. Like they had little foreshadowing moments like that.
But
No, this is too
nah,
good. This is too well
but
directed.
here's the
I can
thing.
understand. Let me finish, please. I can still appreciate why Deadites might like it, but Deadites are horror fans first. So Deadites should actually suck it up and go, you know what? This is bad. This is too good to hate. So
I didn't hate it.
unlike all the hate The Exorcist Believer got, which I could go with, this movie doesn't deserve the hate. This
I wouldn't
movie's
say hate.
just
I
a
mean,
fucking
that's too strong, way too strong to hate on it. But it is certainly lacking in the charm and the humor. There are attempts at humor and charm, but I don't believe they're quite pulled off. But it's just not lacking enough in the charm and humor and the skill of Raimi and the previous entries. But like I say, there is still some very good stuff here. So I certainly wouldn't hate on it. I just feel it's the weakest of the series so far.
All right, there you go, guys. Evil Dead Burn. Go check it out. See what you think. It'll probably be on digital pretty quick. Sadly, it didn't do well. It'll probably find its footing again. Usually does. Most horror does when it goes on demand and for sales. People buying it. I'll certainly buy it for my collection. It's a good fun time.
Shame about the
That's all
CGI.
we
What's with your
got.
man blowing his brains out though?
You fucking idiot.
Well, there was. I was just stating the fact.
No, you're bullying the film at that point. And I was like, yeah, I'm
Doing
like, fuck
in
that.
the film.
You are. You can laugh all you want. You do that. It makes no sense. It's beautifully shot. And yeah. Well, he's not going to blow his fucking head off.
If he was any sort of method
Okay,
actor, he would do it. Really?
Oh, Jesus.
Daniel Day-Lewis would do it.
Anyways. Next up, Falling Down, Michael Douglas, and then we are
Whoa.
Silence of the Lambs. Silence of the
Who's
Lambs.
Michael Douglas? I don't know if I know him. I know an actor called Michael Douglas.
You're a fucking idiot. Again, I'm just gonna call this podcast fucking idiot podcast.
Brian Blessed.
Just end my life, people. Just end my life. All right, give us a shout at CitizenFrame_podcast on Instagram and of course Facebook. This one will not be coming as well. I don't know why I'm saying this again because the podcast will be over, so it's irrelevant that we have no introduction because you'll know that by the time you listen to this part. Okay, I'm overthinking things.
Whoa. I know we're going to have for an introduction and a sort of play out me doing the we're gonna get you from the original. Or no, how about the jazz music that's royalty free from the original? You could use it. Seriously?
No, because it's not in the film.
But it's in the original. And it's a callback.
It's not in the film.
It's in the original Evil Dead. People will get it.
It's not in the film.
People will get it.
Oh my God! Fine, just send it to me. I'm not looking for it. You got to just send it to me.
I will send it to you. I will send it to you 100%. Yep.
All right. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this one up. Down. Take care.